Prepare to embark on an epic journey where courage, friendship and ninja skill are put to the test in intense battles. The Path of Raijin brings together 5 thrilling stories, where a team of legendary ninjas, Minato, Hiruzen, Dancer and Sasuke, face unimaginable challenges, pushing themselves to the limit and exploring the power of their skills in fights that could change everyone's destiny. Follow them as they face imposing enemies, overcome moments of despair and discover the true meaning of strength, sacrifice and honor. The 5 stories are: The Lightning That Rends Time, The Legend of the Monkey King, The Winds of Fire and Lightning, The Path of Immortality, Chidori, The Final Blow. 1. The Lightning That Rends Time. It was a calm morning, and the battlefield was as silent as the dawn before the storm. Minato, the Yellow Flash, stood at the head of his team, his eyes carefully watching the enemy's movements. Beside him, Hiruzen, the Sage of the 5 Elements, held tightly his adamantine staff, a true legend who could summon the power of the Monkey King Enma whenever necessary. In the background, Dancer, with her winds of devastating force, prepared to launch a whirlwind, while Sasuke, with his Chidori at the ready, was ready to attack. Let's show them what true strength means, Minato shouted, his voice echoing across the field. He activated his esoteric, space-time hurricane flash sequence steps, dealing massive damage to the enemies and marking them with the feared, flying Raijin mark. With great dexterity, Minato advanced, cutting down the first enemies with his Rasengan. His allies did not hesitate. Hiruzen threw his esoteric adamantine staff, summoning Enma to help crush any remaining resistance. Hiruzen, with Enma at his side, advanced imposingly. Each blow of the staff caused tremors in the field, and when the Monkey King's impact landed, his enemies were thrown back. But the fight was far from over. The enemy summoned powerful creatures, and the pressure increased. We are ready for anything, Hiruzen thought, as he watched Minato continue his destruction. It was Dancer who turned the tide. By activating her esoteric wind release whirlwind technique, she swallowed several enemies in a hurricane of cutting wind. The blindness she imposed on the enemies was the key to interrupting their attacks. Their enemies, now blind, could no longer organize themselves, becoming easy targets for Sasuke. The Sharingan glowed, and Sasuke released his esoteric, creation of the unimaginable Chidori continuous slash, immobilizing the last opponents. With victory assured, Minato smiled. This is our strength, our friendship. They were ready for the next battle. 2. The Legend of the Monkey King. The lights of the village shone in the background, but the battlefield was in complete darkness. A group of highly trained ninjas challenged Minato's team. They possessed brute strength and sharp skills, but they were about to face a true challenge. Hiruzen knew it would be difficult, but he was prepared. The Monkey King never fails, he thought as he summoned Enma, the Monkey King, with his adamantine staff esoteric skill. The giant ape appeared at his side, with his indomitable presence and imposing attacks. Enma immediately rushed to the front lines, crushing enemies with his staff, while Hiruzen continued the battle with his wisdom and experience. Meanwhile, Minato, with his unparalleled speed, appeared and disappeared among the enemies, damaging them with his Rasengan and the esoteric tailed beast combo. He was unbeatable, but the team still needed more. Dancer, realizing the enemy's advantage in terms of numbers, used her whirlwind technique to control the field. Her chaotic winds caught the enemy off guard, leaving them vulnerable to more powerful attacks. It was then that Sasuke entered the scene. He activated his esoteric creation of the unimaginable Chidori continuous slash, eliminating the enemy's final resistance. The battlefield was in ruins, but victory was theirs. Hiruzen looked at Minato, with a satisfied smile. With the strength of our friendship, we cannot lose. 3. The Winds of Fire and Lightning. The fight was intense. Minato's team was facing an enemy team that specialized in fast and destructive attacks. Each of their opponents possessed terrifying abilities, and the battlefield was about to descend into complete chaos. Hiruzen, with his Monkey King Enma, was doing his best to keep the front line safe, while Minato ran across the field, a bolt of lightning tearing through the darkness. But the true test was yet to come. The enemy team had summoned a powerful wind ability, and Dancer saw an opportunity. Using her whirlwind technique, she twirled her fan, creating a whirlwind so fierce it seemed as if the wind would swallow everything. The force of the wind disrupted the enemy's attacks, and blindness was applied, leaving the opponents unable to react. This gave Minato the time he needed to use his esoteric tailed beast combo, unleashing a devastating attack that caused massive damage to the enemy line. Sasuke was waiting for the right moment. When his enemies were stunned by the blindness and the hurricane, Sasuke used his esoteric creation of the unimaginable Chidori continuous slash, catching everyone by surprise and immobilizing them. There was no way to escape. Hiruzen, with his healing ability and Enma attacks, finished off the remaining enemies, securing victory for his team. 4. The Path of Immortality. The battle was at its climax. Minato, Hiruzen, Dancer, and Sasuke stood side by side, facing a threat that seemed impossible to defeat. But they had something their enemies did not, an indomitable spirit. Minato, with his speed and strategy, led the attacks, while Hiruzen, the wise master, used his wisdom to protect his friends. Dancer, with her grace and skill, manipulated the winds in order to create chaos in the enemy camp. Sasuke, with his Sharingan, prepared for the final blow. But when the enemy summoned an immortal creature, the ninja team had to redouble their efforts. Hiruzen, summoning his Monkey King Enma, made a huge impact with his adamantine staff. The battle was arduous, and each one's life hung in the balance. But together, they were unstoppable. Sasuke used his Chidori to destroy the immortal creature, while Dancer and Minato neutralized the surrounding enemies. In the end, victory belonged to their team. They proved that with courage and unity, even the most powerful threats could be defeated. 5. Chidori, the final blow. The field was silent, except for the sound of the wind. The final battle was about to begin. Minato's team gathered together, their hearts pounding. They knew they would face the greatest challenge of their lives, but they were ready. Sasuke, holding his Chidori, looked at his allies. Hiruzen, with Enma at his side, nodded. Dancer, with her winds of destruction, was prepared to make an immense impact. They advanced. The enemy was strong, but there was nothing they could not face. Minato, with his unparalleled speed, led the way, marking the enemies with the flying Raijin mark. Hiruzen followed behind, using his wisdom and Enma's power to crush the enemies. When it was Sasuke's turn, he released his Chidori with an intensity never seen before. The battlefield shook as the final blow caused immeasurable destruction. Victory was his. The strength of friendship and unity had prevailed.